You hit me with basic compétitif. I hit you back with entrepreneurial resilience. It's 1-to-1.
And 3 of them.
And
Perfect.
3 of them.
There you go.
When I get my revenge,
All right.
I come in hard.
So off the top, that's fair. No, that's good. Hitting strong. I like it. It's like leaving the obstacle and then running away right away. Like really strong, right? It's not leaving the obstacle and, taking a selfie or whatever, right?
Or Sean, here's a rope on fire, climb it.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
What's up, Saito? Welcome back to the Sensei Says podcast. I am Sensei Pascal, back inside my podcast dojo in Saint-Julie, Quebec, Canada. I hope you're doing really good. I am doing great. Thank you for choosing the podcast today. And don't forget that my mission is to deliver you weekly inspirational conversations with successful personalities from a plurality of fields of expertise. The important thing is we dig out some actionable advice that will help us improve on our lives. Another amazing episode I've got for you this week on the podcast, which I recorded a few weeks ago when I visited the Canadian West, the Canadian Rockies, back in Calgary, back at my favorite training center in YYC, CorFit. And that's not the first time you've heard the expression CorFit, because back on episode 007, James Bond number, I met with Kathy in Calgary again at CorFit. She's still the co-owner and trainer extraordinaire. This time around, her partner and also co-owner, Sean Sweeney, we discuss how to optimize your entrepreneurial resilience and creativity, because both of them, to me, are prime examples of said qualities. And whether or not you own a business, still all of the advice you're going to get from this interview will apply to your life and will stay relevant to you as well. And don't forget, if you like the conversation, like, subscribe, comment, share to a friend. If you're listening on Apple, please leave a review. So let's go back to Calgary, shall we?
I'm so glad I'm back. It's like almost homecoming for me. Like 2 years ago, I met with Kathy, who's in the back right now, looking for inspiration for my own gym. And we had a nice talk, and we talked about a lot of ice cream flavors too. We talked about important things, like essential, fundamental things that were important to discuss in front of the public. There you go. So back in Calgary with you, Sean, her partner and awesome coach here. So thank you for taking the time to be speaking with me.
Thank you.
It's always awesome to come back here and get some pointers and tips and look-sees to take back with me in Quebec. Maybe start about your story.
Sure.
How did you get into maybe OCR? Because obviously this is a obstacle training facility. So what got you into OCR first?
Yeah, sure. Very much all OCR for sure. Definitely have a ninja component as well to this. The story begins, like I was always jock of all trades, right? I was always playing hockey or soccer. I was biking a lot, like just always being active and outside and not really realizing that there's a sport that kind of caters to everything that I've been doing just for fun anyways. So then it kind of just evolved, right? I got my first opportunity to know what the Spartan culture, what the obstacle course racing culture was, when a friend of mine said, hey, my brother is registered. He's not available anymore. Do you want to run the race with me? And I'm like, yes, right away. Like, just yes. I don't even know what I'm getting myself into, but yes, let's just do it. So, and then one thing led to the next. And then I realized, okay, there's some movement in Calgary toward opening a gym that specifically caters and specifically targets, that whole athlete, that whole obstacle course racing athlete, where we challenge spirit, mind, and body in the variety of obstacles that we present in our classes. And then I said, okay, look, I'm going to bring my fitness coaching training into specifically to OCR. And then so there's strong opportunities to grow as a coach in that area, right? So for example, SpartanSGX, right? So I got that certification, and then
which is the official certification program from Spartan Race.
Very much so. And then again, later on in the story, level 2, of course, and and so on and so forth. And moving into that story, walked up, there was a gym being built, and I just said, I want to work here. I want to be one of your coaches. And the owner was, I guess, fairly keen on my directness. And about 3 months later, when it officially opened, I was on the floor. I was one of the coaches, which is great. I was actually the first person to ever turn the keys on CorFit back on January 16th, 2016. I recall the date. So at 6 a.m. That's why I remember. No one else wanted the 6 a.m. classes, right? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm in.
It's not the honor, the privilege. It's all of the coffee cups I had to drink because we were opening at 6 a.m.
Oh, no
That's
question.
why I remember.
Very true, Pascal. I couldn't agree with you more. So that all said, and then very quickly it just became, okay, like this is awesome. Like this is a great way to personally work out. It's a great way to connect with people and to really bring out the true, athlete that is dormant inside all of us, right? And it doesn't mean athlete as a finesse completion of every obstacle. It means the athlete who is always challenging themselves and always coming out a better person after 60 minutes in a class surrounded by, strong coaching modalities. But more importantly, it's the environment, it's the community, and it's the people that that add to that whole experience. So then it made a lot of sense that, we should probably race a lot more, and then just became quite successful with, showing up to the races and, training on the obstacles helps a lot. So, you're not falling on monkey bars or anything like that because you're training on the monkey bars here. So that made it very much a lifestyle that Kathy and I chose and continue to choose. And it's been great ever since.
Let's back up a bit to your first race. What was your athletic background before you got into your first race?
The biggest sport, the sport that I went the furthest in was Vélo compétitif. So
a little French in there. There you go.
Bit. Well, I figure that's a
little
thing there.
Distinguished.
There you go. Oh, thank you.
You got to put on a monocle.
Yeah.
In a hi-hat form. I did some Vélo compétitif.
There you go. So it was competitive cycling, which was the main sport that I went the furthest in, and that competitive drive just naturally dovetailed into the obstacle course racing as well.
What I like about what you just said maybe a couple of minutes ago was the accessibility of that training to everyone.
Yes.
So when you got into the race, the first race, how did you react? Because it's something that's out of your comfort zone as an athlete. Because now you've got the overhead movements, you've got the obstacles, you've got the hill climbing. Well, I mean, if you were mountain biking, it's parallel, but still not the same.
Yep.
So how did you adjust?
No, absolutely. I mean, there's very similar body movements, but I think the best way to look at it is like, okay, you're running up to this obstacle, you're not really sure what it is, but you're like, let's just give it a shot. Let's just see what happens, right? There's confidence in your abilities as an athlete, confidence in the training that you've put into that point. And if you can do a pull-up, well, how different are monkey bars? Like we kind of all, and you play around, you climb trees, you jump over fences when the ball goes over into your neighbor's yard, you just kind of put it all together and it just makes sense. And that's where that whole obstacle course racing genre and that whole sport comes in is it's the Venn diagram of the athlete, right? It's like fast runner, great. But, you have to lift. You have to do some heavy lifting. You're a great lifter. You can lift, 800-pound tire, but can you run? So it's that whole Venn diagram, which really challenges the athlete in a variety of ways, which is exciting. And to your point, that whole trepidation when you're on the line, you don't really know what's ahead of you. I think that's what we can put ourselves into that same role when people for the first time walk through our gym and they really don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So that ability to empathize with what the individual's coming for, right? They're excited. They know they're going to put themselves on a start line at like an ex-Warrior event coming up in the spring of 2022, but they really don't know what to expect. And they don't know what the community is going to be like. And right away, there's really strong energy. There's great positive vibes. You walk in and you're ready to challenge yourself. You're probably not going to be, on, American Ninja Warrior in one day of playing on the Ninja rig, but the ability to get that 1% or more better each time. I mean, that's where the secret sauce lies, 100%.
Well, actually, that was my follow-up question. How do you maybe vocalize that type of training is actually accessible to all shapes and sizes of people. Because when you come in an obstacle gym, you can get scared pretty quick if you're not accustomed to circuit training or cross training, or you're not active whatsoever, and you see all of these quote unquote monstrosities when you first come in. They can be like scary. So how do you vocalize that to someone who's a newcomer?
I think that's great. Well, first of all, we take them through like the basic moves, right? Almost like a CorFit 101. So they have an idea of what a wall, what climbing a wall is, but they're not starting on the 8-foot wall. They're starting on the A-frame. They're starting on the slip wall, right? Because they can use a rope. They're fairly comfortable with that. That's our first opportunity to get them toward an up and over type of thing. So we take the familiar and we gradually introduce that level of discomfort, that level of unfamiliarity.
Love that.
So that they progress, within their reach, right?
Yep.
There's no growth in the comfort zone, and there's certainly no comfort in the growth zone. So we really try to push that as much as possible.
I love that. That's going to be a quote. There you go.
Quote it for sure. So, I mean, we make sure that like each athlete, whether they've been coming here for six years and they're elite in every area, there's still ways to push it to that 1% or greater challenge where it's just that little bit uncomfortable, right? And putting ourselves into the shoes of the individual that first walks in the very first time, that's like that reset button, because majority of our client base is coming quite frequently, so they also add by way of community, by way of support, by way of camaraderie, and everyone feels really welcomed. We hope, at least right away.
I know we are feeling well.
Thank you
absolutely,
very much. You're very kind.
Absolutely, 100%.
So that's to us. That's really important.
If we, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. If we fast forward to your experience as an entrepreneur, because following your activities in the last 18 months, I found myself really inspired by you and Kathy, because you guys never give up. And if there's something that we know about the last 18 months is that if you're either a restaurant owner or a fitness gym owner, things could get pretty rough.
Sure.
So maybe tell about the entrepreneurial side of that endeavor that is CorFit.
Okay, very interesting. Well, yeah. So I mean, obviously we were affected right from the very beginning. We knew that we needed to follow the shutdown. We actually were a couple hours ahead of time. We made a big announcement. This is where we're gonna draw the line. Essentially, we're shutting things down, and then it became mandated, of course. And then right away, I mean, you can look at change in a variety of different ways. We like you and I talked off camera about this, is like, hey, you have 18 months. We didn't know it at the time, but you have 18 months and let's sharpen our pencils, right? Let's explore who we can be as people, as business owners, as athletes, right? And now that we're in that 18-month range, we kind of look back and be like, hey, you know what? We did some really good work here. This is very important. We learned certain aspects of the business that are putting us into this conversation on this floor right now. Otherwise, perhaps the narrative would have been a little different, right? So, sharpening our pencil, Stephen Covey talks about the 7 habits of highly effective people. The 7th habit is sharpening the saw, right? So, which is really important to recognize, take a step back, and we've been given that gift of, some time off, some pause. So you take a step back, right? And you recognize, okay, what can we do to improve the business? What can we do to improve the client experience? What can we do to improve ourselves as athletes? All of these things. So asking the right questions is where it all starts. And we're happy to say that, we've been reopened now confidently since June, although we did have 2 or maybe even 3 restarts to various degrees throughout. And when we were presented with that opportunity with certain levels of restriction, we just embraced that and just were thankful and grateful for that opportunity. And we made the best of it, right? There was one, the word escapes me right now, but like one type of framework that the province allowed us to open up with, which was, you have to be under a certain threshold level as far as RPE, rate of perceived exertion, right? And that was it was undefined. So we defined it ourselves as 50%. Like you couldn't push any harder than 50%. Well, great. there's ways to do all of these obstacles at a 50% threshold. You refine technique. You hold a position a little bit longer instead of just jumping over it, right? So there's opportunity in every challenge. And I think that's really, really an important way to look at, challenges, resilience, grit in any way, not just on the Ex-Warrior course, not just on the Spartan Race course, right? Because that's just a microcosm. Even if it is the 12-hour, the 12-hour Black Ops from Ex-Warrior, it's still 12 hours. This is 18 months we're talking about. So you're constantly taking that physical step back, literal step back, and recognizing there are ways here that when we sit back and recognize and like just be still, they become visible. And looking at a variety of things that we can do to, elevate the client experience, the member experience, as we know we're going to reopen at some point. It's time to get ready.
Yeah, what I found really inspirational from you two, and that's why I wanted to meet with you again, aside from the great workout that I always get when I come at CorFit, is the mindset and the perspective that you automatically get when you're faced with a hardship, an obstacle, such as a huge lockdown. And that's why I think people out there who are entrepreneurs, whatever their industry might be, need to hear how you see things, how you adapt to the situation and never gave up. And to me, it's I don't want it to I don't want to sound harsh, but what I thought about the first lockdown in this situation is that this is going to be a natural selection between people who are meant to be entrepreneurs and the people who are faking to be entrepreneurs.
Sure.
Because I humbly think that as an entrepreneur, you thrive on these moments. It's maybe you're going to take half a day to just cry and binge on Häagen-Dazs, but the following day it's back to work. You have to find a solution. You have to be creative, and in some ways it starts to fire up again because you're passionate about what can I do. I'm being given these strict like limits, but how can I be creative within that new framework?
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and it is a roller coaster of change, right? You're looking at where we once were, and you want to get back to that place, but the faster we can recognize that we're not going back to that, and that we got to move forward, we got to forge ahead. The training is mental here, the training's physical here, and there's no difference into how, as entrepreneurs, we look at structuring the business strategies moving forward.
And based on your experience and values, what do you think would be the three main things that would optimize, let's call it, entrepreneurial resilience?
Wow, that's a tough one. Three right off the top of my head, I would say.
Well, you hit me.
Yeah,
you hit me with basic compétitif. I hit you back with entrepreneurial resilience. It's and 1-to-1.
And three of them.
And
Perfect.
three of them.
There you go.
When I get my revenge, I come in hard.
So off the top, that's fair. No, that's good. Hitting strong. I like it. It's like leaving the obstacle and then running away right away. Like really strong, right? It's not leaving the obstacle and taking a selfie or whatever, right?
Or Sean, here's a rope on fire, climb it.
Yep, there you go. Exactly. I would say, belief in self is really important because that breeds confidence, right? So knowing that, there are tasks that might appear to be, from a business standpoint, outside of your realm of specialty right away, but understanding that you have the confidence to just learn that skill and to adapt and overcome, right? That's really important. And then the second option I would say is that confidence builds the competence, right? So you have the confidence to take on the challenge, and then you realize, hey, I kind of did it. Like I learned that skill, or I made a change in the gym or something, and then that confidence becomes competence. So not only did you take on the option, but you've done it and done it very well, right? And then I would say really tapping into something that's greater than yourself or myself and Kathy, right? Which was, we really put ourselves in the position of the members. And we said, look, coming back, what are they expecting? What's going to really be a very strong membership-driven initiative, right? What's mandated is mandated, right? We have to do certain things, but what's going to have a great customer reentry? What's going to have a great membership retention? What's going to be something that they're going to be wowed by? And that is, what we put together. We moved a couple of things around. We opened up the gym space, right? We crafted different ways to run our workouts and stuff that truly do challenge that whole athlete, right? The fire inside, of course, but also that whole spirit, mind, and body aspect, right? We challenge physically on the Z wall. That's the physical, right? Yeah. And then the mental is, well, guess what? We put on a couple new changes to that. So you have different hand placements. Yeah. So it's not just routine. And then the spirit is, hey, look, I'm ready for that challenge. And I've been in a position now where I may have failed a couple times, but it didn't destroy me. And I'm ready to keep moving forward and stronger, right?
In a way, it's to stay creative. And like you said, to realize this is bigger than yourself, and to really be comfortable in the mission you are serving.
Yes.
This is about what you can give people. What's your mission? What's your service? What can you give?
I agree.
That's going to uplift humanity. And when you focus on that, like, you can get as many leg sweeps as you want, but you'll always get up because you are fueled by that very mission, which is so deeply rooted in yourself that I don't think that any hardship or any situation or negativity could affect that. You could be down on your last breath and still stand up based on that, motivated by that mission.
Sure. And just the comment to that is, I mean, as much as we want to say that this is, team and community and all that, really, it's fairly individualized, right? And as entrepreneurs, sometimes we think, okay, this is a position that I am in, or that Kathy and I are in, and we're on our own, right? And by tapping into that sort of team mentality, psychology will say that you're going to do more. I'm going to do more because I know that you're counting on me and we're a team.
Yep.
So I'm not going to let you down. I'm going to do more than what I'm potentially capable of doing for myself, by myself, on my own, because I know that you're also sharing that same mentality. So by tapping into something that's greater than the self, it makes it real, and it makes it something that, like, giving up or a 90% effort just isn't acceptable because people are counting on you.
Yeah, that's funny because that's actually a point that I discussed with Dr. Don Vaughn in our second episode. Okay. He's a neuroscientist from UCLA, and from his pieces of advice is one of them was social support. Because social support are actually pieces of information that our brain process and will implement behaviors and will motivate you to not give up, to push forward, because you've got that just a smile or analyzing that someone is putting forth effort. I'm analyzing that, and that gives me strength to go even further.
No question.
So that's actually explainable scientifically.
Sure.
Which means that neuroscience is awesome.
Yes.
As so is CorFit.
From UCLA too. Yes. Neuroscience everywhere else. For that matter.
There you go. Maybe not as awesome as CorFit. So for the people,
well, I wouldn't profess to be a neuroscientist, that's for sure.
I would not either. That's why you have to watch in the archives, episode number 2. Thank you for the plug. So whenever we're in Calgary, maybe explain where we can maybe sign up and allow ourselves to a whole lot of pain, but positive pain.
That's a great way to put it. Let's call it physical challenge and exploration, right?
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
That's a good way to look at it.
I'm putting that in my ads.
So it doesn't matter if you've done an OCR race, if you've done like a running race, a 10K, a 5K. What matters is that you want to do something different. You want to do something more, right? And you just want to challenge yourself. And if you want to become an elite athlete using our systems, please do. If you want just to move out of, the big box gyms for even a month just to kind of explore, because we know that the routine is the enemy, right? And that's proven in biology, is that if we consistently do the same workout, we're going to reach a point of, no return.
Plateau.
Exactly. So by challenging, let's say you take the typical person who's going to a big box gym, they're doing chest day Monday, arms on Wednesday, that type of thing. Here it's, the total athlete physically, the total athlete, spirit, mind, and body, as well as that really strong connection with the community. Eventually enter our space and get one of our smiling instructors
Absolutely.
to greet you at the door and welcome you and say bienvenue, perhaps.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
We'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And before we end this, there's one piece one thing that we have to clear out. Very essential piece of information, because I got from a very good source that Kathy's favorite ice cream flavor was chocolate mint.
Yes.
So I've been asked to ask you, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? That's really important.
It is very important.
That is essential.
It is. It's not by Haagen-Dazs. You did mention that earlier.
There you go. But take
I
the
would
time,
say it's Ben
take
and Jerry's.
all of the time.
No, I can picture it. I just got to remember. The late night dough. It's the one with Jimmy Fallon on it.
What?
Yeah, it's called late night cookie dough or something like that.
Why are flavors so complex nowadays?
I don't know.
So you don't know what's the actual flavor? It's Jimmy Fallon flavored ice cream?
Yeah. No, not Jimmy Fallon flavored ice cream. Jimmy Fallon branded ice cream.
Oh.
Which, by chance,
sorry about that.
we were watching one of the Food Networks, right? Yes, last night. And they had Kevin Bacon as the celebrity endorsing this food challenge for ice cream. That's not by chance, sponsored by Ben and Jerry's. And he mentioned what his top, I guess, not flavors of ice cream, but top flavors of food, right, are. So chocolate, banana, almond, all that stuff. And they're like, they're taking notes and stuff. And then they had to create a new ice cream, the Kevin Bacon Experience ice cream, whatever that is, right? Creative names based on his work, that type of thing. So it's the Jimmy Fallon one. It's by...
Yeah, but we're going too quick now.
Yeah.
If there's not bacon in the Kevin Bacon ice cream, I'm going to riot.
How could you ask for more? Everything was in this interview. We talked about philosophy, training, ice cream, even though it could be Jimmy Fallon flavored. I don't want to know what that tastes like, but still, amazing interview. Again, thank you, Sean, for all of the time, because you guys didn't see the discussion we had prior and after the interview. I mean, it's just awesome to meet people like Sean and Kathy. Can't wait to go back to Calgary and meet you again and enjoy an amazing workout at CorFit. But for the time being, let's revisit what we've learned from Sean in terms of optimizing your entrepreneurial resilience and creativity. Number one, be adaptative. That is a fundamental quality to have as a business person or entrepreneur. It's a cliche, but you do have to expect the unexpected, and your ability to adapt quickly, analyze the situation, and make the right decisions for your business will either make it or break it. It's a make it or break it situation. It is essential that you find a way to not resist the storm, but find ways to just navigate through it. Just like Bruce Lee said once, the tree that tries to resist the winds will break, but the one that bends with it or bends with them will go through all of the storms. Might be paraphrasing here. I'm sorry, Master Lee, but you get the point. So be adaptative, and instead of resisting what's coming at you in terms of a business person, try to find creative ways to get through it. Number two, build on competence. From the analysis of the difficulty, the identification of the skill you must learn to overcome said difficulty, comes novel competence. And on that novel competence, you're now able to build a stronger project, a stronger business. And the same applies to personal life. Like I said earlier, it's not because you're not an entrepreneur now that this podcast interview does not apply to you as well. Take your personal life, for example. If you're facing relationship-wise or maybe just work-wise, some kind of hardship, difficulty to go through, you still have to do the analysis, identify the shortcoming, and then find a way to get creative, learn a skill, improve, and get through it. Number 3, it's about the mission. It's not about us as business people. It's not about us as individuals. It's about the mission that we serve. It's about that passion that we find inside of us, that same passion that made us decide to open a business or do a project in our choice of industry. For me, it was karate at one time. Now it's fitness, it's a podcast, it's all other and other things as well. For you, it's also what you're passionate about, because you need passion to just live the lifestyle that being an entrepreneur requires. Again, it's not solely about our survival as business people, but how can we recover from a situation and still better serve the main mission. Now it's your turn, Saito. I always like to read what you've got to say about what you've learned through my podcast. So what are your pieces of advice on how to optimize your entrepreneurial resilience and creativity, or maybe just as a regular quote-unquote individual? Please leave it in the comments or share it with me on my Twitter account at Sensei Says Pod, my personal Twitter at Sensei Pascal. I always enjoy exchanging with you. If you've liked the episode today, don't forget to like, subscribe, share to a friend, hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a 5-star review. That's gonna help a lot with the growth of this podcast. If you need quick reminders about the pieces of advice we've discussed today with Sean, go through the video description on YouTube or read through the episode description on your favorite audio platform. You want to get the episodes fast and first? Don't forget to sign up to the free newsletter, senseisays.link/sign up. Maybe this episode got you a little excited. That's awesome. Now you've got a plurality of other inspirational podcasts to choose from the archives. And on that note, Saitos, thank you for watching or listening today. You are dismissed. See you next week.
I saw the ad for the Spartan Race. I'm like, man, that looks awesome. I laid it all out on the line. Like when I got to the finish line, I collapsed. Like I was literally almost dying.
I mean, some people would think you're crazy going hiking. They're like, okay, what are you going to do? Well, we're going to walk for 4 hours, get up somewhere, have a snack and a picture and come back.